Hey everyone! Welcome to a special devlog where we talk about a tool we've built for managing conversations visually. We call it TalkTree, and if you're interested in this type of devlog specifically, let me know by liking the video and or subscribing. That really helps me out. Anyway, like most custom tools, TalkTree has some peculiarities and issues, and this video is basically a post-mortem on this tool. What it does, why it was built, and what works well, and frankly, what sucks. Godot's our engine. It's gonna be our engine. We love Godot.
Yay!
There's a number of tools already out there for Godot that manage dialogue for you, but we needed one in particular that fit a number of criteria we were looking for. The conversations in the game would need to be 1. Branching, 2. Conditional, reactive to and affecting the world state in some way. They would need to manage huge trees with cycles easily, and occasionally be non-contiguous, meaning we wanted to sometimes pretend that nothing was going on. Dialogic met most of our needs, but its graph system didn't scale well for the size of the graphs we were expecting. Then there's Dialogue Manager, which is script-based, and while it could handle the size of the graphs, managing a bunch of scripts just wasn't working out for us. Building our own tool meant that we could design with all of this in mind. The core idea of the editor is pretty simple. The conversations are structured in trees, authored with a custom editor, and exported to a Godot-friendly format. Save files are JSON files, but the final exported format is a Godot binary. More on that later. The workflow goes a little like this. We just write and structure the dialogue in the editor, save as a JSON, export to a binary artifact, game loads the artifact. Yay, we're done, yay! How we structure the tree is as follows. We have conversations that are broken up by character and further broken down by context. So a given character will have their standard line in one context, and if you decide to be a jerk for some reason and just completely rob them blind, they might have a different context to reply to you with. Then there's the nodes we have. Dialogue nodes show lines to the player, and they may or may not have options they can respond with. Conditions are where we choose a branch based on a variable. Action nodes send a command to the game, and they can run any sort of code, allowing us to freely change the game state. Character actions are very similar to actions, but these run code in the character that specifically owns the conversation. We pretty much exclusively use these for animations, but you know. A really important feature of the editor is how it manages global flags. The editor uses them for conditions by checking whether they're true or false, and we can set how each one initializes, or whether to save it permanently or as part of a cache, which is pretty cool in its own right. While the editor can set the initial value of the flags, it doesn't have any mechanism to directly set the value. That's got to be done in-game via some action or some other mechanism. At first glance, that might seem kind of odd, but it turned out to be a really good separation of concerns. It organizes our code in a way that just makes sense for us. This also just helps a ton when debugging, because the dialogue stays declarative and really it only sends action requests. So, usually, we only need to set the actions once in TalkTree, and then the logic can be quickly updated as needed in Godot. Yay, the skip system. Okay. So one of the more requested features that we added later on was just skipping dialogue. And from the player perspective, it might resemble something like RenPies, where you just skip entire conversations, but key decisions and information are always shown. Under the hood, it's a little different. Instead of pushing forward, a skippable node explicitly tells the system where to go next. So we can easily skip less important choices and make an entire conversation escapable, or ensure that no matter the branch, the correct actions are always run. So, was it worth it? I think so. Yeah, I think it was worth it. There are a few things that worked out really well, just really well, and some things that just haven't. Namely, the artifact being a binary was a bad call. It means it's not diffable in PRs, which it's a bummer. But on the flip side, separation of concerns and organizing code and tree structure has just been great. So that's awesome. If you made it this far, I'd love it if you gave us a like and subscribe, and check out Sign My Petition on Steam. We're also running an open playtest on itch, so if you want to check out what we're talking about there, well, the link is in the description. So Yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Bye-bye.